Sports. I'm your host, Ed, and where passion meets precision, as I just did my intro wrong. But, anyways, yeah, welcome to Influential Sports, where passion meets precision. I'm your host, Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. I don't know how I got my intro wrong, but not too many, uh, nobody in here yet. But I'm gonna talk about Anthony Richardson first. Because the Anthony Richardson situation in Indianapolis is pretty interesting to me. This is Weekly Sports Talk with Ed, episode 60, by the way. So, to get into it, I'm going to start by talking about Anthony Richardson and that situation. And if you didn't see episode 59, the 5 minutes of it are still up. And then I did a short, which was 3 minutes, to recap basically what I talked about. But to get into episode 60, once it hits the minute mark, and Anthony Richardson, his situation in Indianapolis is really weird because after 2 years, he's already being after 2 years he's already being benched, and because he only played 4 games his first season due to injury, then he played 11 last year, so he's still yet to play a full season. That has been injured in back-to-back seasons. While C.J. Stroud, who was in the same class as him, has led the Texans to the playoffs back-to-back years, and it's looking great. Now, Anthony Richardson did give C.J. a run for his money in one of the games last year. It was around week 1 or 2. It was a very entertaining game where Anthony Richardson showed potential, showed that maybe he could be something more than what we've seen. But getting benched for Daniel Jones is certainly something. And when I'm comparing them, I'm only looking at what they did in the last 2 years because that's how long Anthony Richardson's been in the league. So anything before the past 2 years, obviously I give Daniel Jones his credit for the season that the Giants went 9 and they won about 9 games and they ended up in the playoffs, led by a great season from Saquon Barkley that year. So I do give him credit for that because he was solid. I did say, now Saquon did carry that team. He did do most of the work, but Daniel Jones, that was the best that he looked on that playoff team. He actually looked pretty solid that season. So I do give him credit for that. But in the last 2 years, so in Anthony Richardson's first 2 years, he only has a completion percentage of 50.6%. So rounded up to 51. He's been injured consistently, hasn't played, and he's only played 15 games in the last 2 seasons. Anthony Richardson, and he has 2,391 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and 21 sacks. That's what Anthony Richardson's done in Indy these past 2 years. But Daniel Jones, while in New York, he continued to struggle as well. His completion percentage was a lot better than what Anthony Richardson's was at 64.7%. Had him, but his touchdown to interception ratio was also, it was down there the same with 10 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, but he took 59 sacks in 2 seasons. So the decision for Indianapolis to make Daniel Jones a starter, I don't understand it. I mean, it's not like Anthony Richardson was doing much better because it's either you start Anthony Richardson, who's consistently been injured, or you just gotta go with Daniel Jones, even though he's gonna take a lot of sacks and probably still will. Now the Giants and Colts teams are different, but I still think this Colts team is gonna struggle, and I do my NFL predictions next week, more than likely. But Indianapolis is just in a bad spot in general because at the end of the day, neither option was good. I've seen people talk about it, and I do like Anthony Richardson, but he hasn't proved anything that I've said about Anthony Richardson I've been wrong about so far. So it sucks to see, but Anthony Richardson, I don't really know where he can go from here. Maybe a change of scenery would be nice for him, but if he can't survive. But if he can't beat out Daniel Jones for a starting job, then he won't be starting on many teams. Because there was a reason why the Giants had to stick with Daniel Jones for so long. So Anthony Richardson, I don't see much going up from here for Anthony Richardson. This is bad for Anthony Richardson, definitely. But the Colts are going to struggle regardless of who plays quarterback, whether that be Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. Because Daniel Jones might get benched and Anthony Richardson will get to start again. But I don't think it's the Colts giving up on Anthony Richardson. I just think he's maximized his potential in Indianapolis, and he can't go any further than that. I just think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. But to what, uh, moving on to the more important part of the episode, LeBron is the GOAT. Now, in my opinion, LeBron is the greatest NBA player of all time, and I'm gonna get into that. And I think one of the things that makes the case for LeBron being a GOAT is his elite longevity. And longevity isn't just him playing 22 seasons, but in those 22 seasons, he's been a 21-time All NBA and All Star player. The only season where he didn't make the All Star team or All NBA team was his rookie season. Every year after that, been a consistent All NBA player, consistently been an All Star, consistently been an All Star starter. I think he started all 21 years. Now this season, you could have made this past season, you could have made the argument he shouldn't have been a starter, but he still should have been an All Star this past season. So, and he has 25 play, and I'm gonna get into the scoring in a second. You said, do I play football? And I don't play football, but I just joined the dodgeball team. So, you but back to what I was saying. LeBron has elite longevity, and like it's not just about him playing 22 seasons. Because there's multiple guys who have played 20 plus years in the league, but it's the dominance that LeBron has did it with, shooting 50% from the field for his career, shooting 34% from three. Uh, uh, did you ask me if I was a soda pop? I don't know what that means, but got distracted. Let me focus on what I was talking about. But yeah, him playing. But like I said, multiple guys have played 20 plus seasons. We're not gonna act like LeBron is the only guy to do it, but nobody's did it for as long as he done, as dominant as he's did it with the way he and the other stuff. It's just gonna fall in line to what I'm saying. So I'm gonna get to some of the other points here as well. He's the most consistent scorer of all time, and 25 points per game for 20 straight seasons. It's not too many other people doing that. Karl Malone is probably the second most consistent scorer, then him, Jordan up there too, because he was still averaging 20 even with the Wizards, which is very impressive. Even though, especially after taking time off, but LeBron's the most consistent scorer ever, putting up 25 points per game for 20 straight seasons. Then this past season, putting up 24, and in his rookie season, putting up nearly 20. It was either 19 or 20. So it was something like that. It wasn't 25, but the only seasons he didn't average 25 was his first season and his most recent season. So he's just been a consistent scorer. Like I said, 50% from the field on his career, 34 from three, and then he's improved his 3 point percentage. He shot 41% from three one season with the Lakers not too long ago. Shot 36 this past season, if I'm not mistaken. And then his defense, I think LeBron is one of the more underrated defenders of all time with his six all defensive teams. And there was even three other seasons where he was really good defensively, but it's only two all defensive teams. So I think even him, like there's been other years where he wasn't a top 10 defender, but he was a top 15 defender. And I don't think that should go under the radar and how impressive that is. And even 2013, him not getting the defensive player of the year didn't make sense. Him not getting it due to for a guy that made the all defensive second team. If somebody else that wasn't LeBron was going to win it, they should have been on the first team, not the second team. That didn't make sense. So you can make an argument that LeBron was robbed out of a DPOY, and that was definitely his best defensive season. Even if you don't want to say that, if you don't, but that was still one of his best defensive seasons. Multiple time all defensive teams, six of them. He could have nine, but and then factor in the greatest playmaking small forward of all time. Probably, yeah, he's the greatest playmaking small forward of all time. I can definitely say that with full confidence. And he won an assist title playing point guard in 2020 with the Lakers. Been a point forward. That's the role he playing. Like he's played the point forward so well that people expect other players to play just like that. People expect Paolo Banchero to be a point forward, which Paulo doesn't need to be that. What's going on, Alex? And for the guy that asked, do I play Roblox? No, I don't. But point forward, but LeBron has played the point forward so well that people want guys like Paulo, uh, Tatum, other guys to play that same role when they shouldn't. LeBron is 101. Like not everybody can do what he does, and that's play multiple positions. He's logged a season in every position and succeeded each season, especially statistically, and even won a title playing different positions. Won a title with the Lakers as a point guard, which I'm gonna get into the championships later. But to play the season at center due to how much Anthony Davis hates playing the center. And that's not a slight to Anthony Davis. That's just his preference. If people prefer power forward, that's cool. LeBron was able to step in and play center. Now, I think we lost to the Suns that year in the first round, which we had multiple injuries. But LeBron, his playmaking, his vision is so top tier and elite. It's like if he knows what pass to make, what pass not to make, and even if he makes and even though LeBron is a clutch argument, I think that's dumb because he has multiple game winners in the playoffs. He's led multiple teams on deep playoff runs. He's won to 10 NBA Finals and won 4 championships as a four-time MVP, four-time Finals MVP, one of the best playoff performers of all time. So I think to say that he isn't clutch is a ridiculous statement when he's had multiple playoff game winners. Has he missed some shots? Yes. The shot in 2013 when Ray Allen put the shot back up to hit the three to win them to send it to overtime versus Spurs. But every player has missed shots. Steph Curry has missed game-winning shots. Michael Jordan has passed the ball out on a potential game winner. It's about making the right play. It's not about the superstar getting the last shot. Because if that's not the right play, then it's a dumb play. So it's no point in doing it. So obviously you want to get your superstars the ball to end the game, but if you can't, but if you're driving to the paint and you're getting triple teamed and you see Austin Reeves in the corner wide open uh, for a three, pass it out to him and just bank on Austin Reeves hitting the shot. You just have to do that sometimes, and every superstar has done it. So I don't think it makes sense to discredit LeBron when he does it, but not do it to other superstars. That's just how basketball works. Not every superstar is a closer. The Bucks had to go out and get Dame because Giannis wasn't a closer at the time. And I think Giannis has adjusted, and I think he can be that now. But they weren't, when they traded for Dame, that's because they wanted a closer. They didn't think that Giannis could be that. And it didn't work out with Dame, unfortunately, for the Bucks. But it is what it is. They had to move on. And then I think even with LeBron being 4-6, his first finals appearance came in 2007. The Spurs, they forced him to shoot, which LeBron couldn't do at the time. I think that's more of a credit to Greg Popovich and his defensive system. And many people weren't expecting LeBron to win that finals because that Cavs team was not messing with that Spurs team. They probably would have lost to the Suns as well if it wasn't for that hip check to Steve Nash. The Suns probably win that finals too. I don't think, whether the Cavs faced the Suns or the Spurs in 2007, I think the Cavs were losing regardless. But then in 2007, in 2011, his LeBron's second finals, was that disappointing? Yes, it was very disappointing. But what did he do after that? He bounced back, won back-to-back MVPs, won back-to-back Finals MVPs, led them to the finals. Now credit to D Rose and the Bulls for giving them competition in the East. It sucks to see how guys like D Rose and John Wall went out because they had good careers, but injuries just a part of sports, unfortunately. But shout out, what's good, D2? And shout out to D Rose because that Bulls team, they was giving the Heat a run for their money. But I do think if Carmelo would have took that pay cut and went to the Bulls, they could have beat that Heat team. I believe that. But that's just on Carmelo, and that's just how the NBA works. Like, people like to discredit LeBron for forming super teams and going to the Heat, but at the end of the day, the goal is to win. LeBron wasn't the first superstar to form a super team, and when the Heat super team came together, LeBron, Wade, Bosh all took pay cuts to make it work. They got the 4 finals, won 2, and they could have. And I do think they should have won in 2014. I think the 2011 one was bad, but 2014, I feel like they could have won that one too. They just didn't capitalize. But yeah, to discredit LeBron for forming super teams, like we haven't always seen this throughout the NBA, that's ridiculous to me. And then he won. Like I said, after the very disappointing 2011 finals, he bounced back. He won 2 MVPs, won 2 finals MVPs, finished second in DPOY, led the Heat to the championship. And he was the Batman of those Heat teams. And then they got to the final. They went to 4 straight finals. So they went to the finals again, and the Spurs ended up winning. And this is why I say the Spurs are the biggest kryptonite to LeBron, because Greg Popovich always had a system, and it always worked well against LeBron. Even though they met in the finals 3 times, the Spurs won. Well, the Spurs and LeBron met the Spurs in the finals 3 times, and the Spurs won twice. But the Spurs, the way they formed their team was way more organic than what the Warriors did, which is why I don't think that the Warriors are LeBron's kryptonite, because after 2016, they recruited Kevin Durant, which is D2. I'm going to address that in a second. But yeah, they recruited Kevin Durant. So I still think the Spurs are the bigger kryptonite just because of that team was more organic than what the Warriors team was. And that's not a slight to the Warriors. At the end of the day, the goal is to win. I'm not tripping about that. I just think the Spurs were the bigger kryptonite. Then he went back to Cleveland, got them to the finals again. LeBron went to 8 straight finals, by the way. Did he win all of them? No, he didn't. But he got the 8 straight finals. Went to the finals in 2015 and his return to the Cavs. Swept the first seeded 4 All-Star team, Hawks team. If the Cavs are a super team, then so is that Hawks team. They have 4 All-Stars. And then the Cavs and D2. I was busy, so I'm gonna watch AEW later today because I'm gonna go to a soccer game at 7. So once that's over, I'm gonna watch AEW after that. But I've been busy most of the day, so I ain't had time to watch it yet. But back to what I was saying. In 2015, I went back to the Cavs, led them, him, Kevin Love, Kyrie, the Cavs big three. But if that's a quote unquote super team, then the Hawks have to be one too. Because in 2015, they won 60 games, had 4 All-Stars. But that's not a super team. And then they got swept by that Cavs team. And then Kyrie got injured in then both Kyrie and Kevin Love didn't play in the. And I think Kyrie played in the finals and he got injured in the finals. He got injured in like game 2, and Kevin Love was injured in the Eastern Conference Finals. So he still took the Warriors team to 6 despite not having his second and third best player on the team for the majority of the series. And then in 2016, even though that finals was overrated in my opinion, there was a very impressive 3-1 comeback because people try to blame how the refs did this and that. You're, if you're up 3-1, the goal is to close the series. And then though they couldn't do that. LeBron, Kyrie, they led the squad all the way back from 3-1, won the championship. LeBron took home his third Finals MVP, and then his record was three. Was he 3-5 at that point or three? Uh, you said you're gonna watch Heat Wave. That should. I'm looking forward to that Obafemi versus Devon match. I might watch Heat Wave tomorrow though. If I watch Forbidden Door tonight, then I'm gonna go to sleep after that and see NXT tomorrow. But yeah, even LeBron's Cavs tenure, his second run, it was very good. 2017, 2018 ran into the Warriors once again, and those Cavs teams continued to get worse over the years. And it's like people try to discredit LeBron for playing with all these All-Stars, but a lot of them were past their prime at that point. Like Derrick Rose was past his prime, and so I don't really understand that. So you had, yeah. So then after that, after he only won one in his return to Cleveland, which is still impressive, he went to LA, got a championship, and had a very successful Lakers tenure. All-Star teams and all NBA teams, multiple top 10 finishes in the MVP race. I think he had a couple of top 5 finishes. Won the championship in 2020, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say about the bubble. Everybody had the same chance in that bubble. First time in NBA history, or one of the few times where everybody went into the playoffs where they were healthy. And LeBron gets discredited for that. If anybody else won in the bubble, nobody would have cared. It would have been a stain on LeBron's legacy. But since he did win it, it's an asterisk on it. That don't make sense. Everybody had the same chance to win in the bubble, and other teams can get it done. The Lakers did. The Clippers and Jazz, they both blew 3-1 leads to the same team. You're up 3-1. Your job is to close out the series. Not having fans there is not an effective that. At the end of the day, if you're up 3-1, every game is a closeout game from there on. And the Nuggets came back from multiple 3-1 leads, which is why they got burnt out by the Western Conference Finals versus the Lakers and lost in 5. And that's not. I don't see how you discredit the Lakers for something they had no control over. Every team had the same shot. But that's my spiel and my stuff on why I think LeBron is the GOAT. And now getting to whatever. Oh, fatal. Stephanie Vaquer. This is. So I don't know what the plan for Stephanie Vaquer is, because she still hasn't been on TV since Naomi announced her pregnancy. And congratulations to Naomi and Big Jim once again. But what they're finna do with Stephanie Vaquer, I have no clue. And I don't know what they're finna do, but I know what I would do if I was them. So I don't know what the plan is for Raw tomorrow or in the morning whenever people seeing this, if y'all watching the replay of this. But what I would do personally, a fatal 4-way match, fatal 4-way elimination match. And there's 3 women that I would have qualified for it. Excuse me. So, um, cause I'm trying. It's too soon to do it because I don't know who she's gonna face at Clash in Paris because EO and Rhea got something going on with damage with the Kabuki Warriors. But I would do a fatal four-way elimination match for the vacant women's world heavyweight championship. I would do Stephanie Vaquer versus Ivy Now versus Bailey versus Io Sky. And let me explain why those three women specifically. Io, I would throw Io in there because she was supposed to get a shot at Naomi. She was supposed to get a rematch since Rhea took the pin in the triple threat match. So you said Stephanie's match is gonna be at WrestlePalooza. Okay, so that's good to know. So damn. Oh, so that's why they're doing the Becky and Nikki match. Okay, that makes more sense. All right, so that's good to know. So they doing it at WrestlePalooza, so they got time to build this up. You have three number one contenders matches to qualify for the Fatal Four Way, and I know it's been a lot of multi-person matches that's been taking place this year. They probably will do it at WrestlePalooza because you can't you can't throw somebody in there too quick. So she's still gonna get the shot. It just depends on how they do it. But I need a timestamp for this. So the way I would book Stephanie Vaquer to win the Women's World Championship, now that the match is likely taking place at WrestlePalooza, leading up to that, I will hold three number one contenders matches to see who will qualify for it and make it a fatal four-way elimination match. Even though it's another multi-person match, it adds something different to it with it being an elimination. Nobody would be protected because three different women will have to eat a pin. And I think everybody could look strong in this match. So I would do Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky versus Ivy Now versus Bailey. And the way that we get here is for the matches how I run is um, I would do Ivy Now versus Rhea Ripley, and I would actually have Ivy Now win, but I would have Asuka interfere in the match so they could continue to build the story with the Kabuki Warriors, uh, Rhea and Io, because you know it's a little tension between Rhea and Asuka. So I would have Ivy Now put Ivy Now over in a big win like that. Have Ivy Now pin Rhea. She advanced to the match. You continue the feud with, and then Asuka and Io get into it backstage, and Ivy Now is Stephanie's first. That was her first main roster feud, if y'all remember. So I think that'd be smart to get her involved. Obviously, she's not gonna win it, but with that being her first main roster feud, build this up as just the time that I'm finally gonna be able to beat you. Because even though it's gonna be more difficult, she still has Ivy Now still has forgotten about those losses she took, and now she earns a qualifying match while pinning the most dominant woman on the women's roster. But despite the interference, she still got the pin at the end of the day. That's what matters. And then Rhea and Asuka get into it along with Io. And then the second match I would do is Io Sky versus Kairi Sane. Actually, as at this point they're still friends. The tension hasn't completely boiled over yet because Kairi Sane, she's kind of in the middle with all this. She don't know if she's gonna side with Asuka or Io, but she's likely gonna side with Asuka. But I would have them run that one-on-one match, then have Io get the win over Kyrie Sane, cause, and then I like that match to be clean. I don't think you got to do nothing too crazy there. Just have Io win. Plus, Io was supposed to get a shot at Naomi anyways, because she was since Rhea got pinned in the triple threat match. So I would have Io get the pin there and advance to it. And her versus Stephanie one on one, they did it twice and haven't had a clean winner. So what better way for Stephanie to potentially pin Io by doing it in a fatal four way where she's a bit more protected since the multiple other women that had to take pins in this match. And then the way Bailey qualifies, I would actually do Bailey versus Raquel with his split personality thing. Have Bailey get the win, and then have her win. Have Roxanne. Actually, don't even have Roxanne interfere. Just have Bailey win clean to build up this new character, but make it. But don't make Raquel look weak. Make this is the match where I would do a roll up pin, and then you can have Judgment Day could do a backstage segment. If Fiend like Fiend could be on something like that's all right. We all take wins and losses. You're gonna get back to the top one day. It might not be yet, but you're gonna get to the top at some point. And then down the line, you have Raquel finally win the Women's World Championship. Regardless who has it, I'll let Raquel win it. And then once, because I want Raquel to get her shot, but do it closer to when Liv is coming back. because I think that, like I discussed it on Black Couch Book and Screen, I think that'd be the perfect opportunity for Raquel to win it. Like 3 months before comes back, then she comes back and Raquel is the champion, so she can talk to her the way she used to. And so that's how we get there. And then you do Stephanie versus Io versus Ivy now versus Bailey in a fatal 4-way. And obviously I would have Stephanie win, but I think that'd be a good way to to do that, to have a fatal 4-way between them four, and a good way to build it up. So that's personally what I would do, and have that at WrestlePalooza. Even have that open the show to crown a new women's world champion. But regardless of what they do, Stephanie Vaquer should definitely be the new women's world champion. D2, you said I think Cena might lose to Logan. If Cena loses to Logan, he's beating Brock, and vice versa. If Logan loses, Brock wins. But I assume Cena beats Brock and Logan beats Cena because of Brock. Logan, I don't know. I said this at the beginning of Cena's retirement tour, but I said after the Royal Rumble he shouldn't have lost again. Cause I like Jay winning the Royal Rumble because it was something new, it was something surprising. But once he won in Elimination Chamber, I figured why why not just have him go undefeated for the rest of the year? Because that's the most brutal match he can win. Because he can't compete in anything more brutal than that. But if Logan wins, I'm not. It just depends on what they do with Logan after that. Because they keep giving Logan title shots, but he keeps losing them, like world title shots. Like if he wins, he can't. Like he a big star, so he gonna get world title matches. But when is he gonna win one? And I don't even like Logan Paul, but you gotta let him win one at some point if you keep putting him in feuds like this. But I see what you're saying. I would like. Cena got to beat Brock though. Brock could interfere or just cause a distraction, and Logan Paul gets the win, which I wouldn't be mad at. But he definitely got to beat Brock. I think regardless, he got to beat Brock. You think he'll get one soon? I mean, I'm not even mad at the decision, but I just want to see Drew get one. I really, before anybody else get one, I want to see Drew McIntyre get a world title and finally shine again. Because Drew only got his moment in the pandemic. Like if they were smart with it, they could just run back and Drew, and they could tell a story with Drew and Logan. They That's easy. If Drew wins it, then Logan Paul could be the one to take it from him because they got the tag team chemistry. Then Logan could turn on him because I think fans want to see Drew as a face if he wins the championship again. But they doing Drew versus Cody too soon. Like they doing. I wonder if they'll have Cody lose since he's filming Street Fighter. I don't know if that's, but I don't think his role major, so I don't think it's gonna matter. Cause Becky, when she did Happy Gilmore, she was still on TV, and she didn't have like a, cause her role was like at the end of it. What's your hot take? You said you don't think Logan is WWE Championship material. Uh, I don't know. I think he could be the. I agree with that. I think he'll be better fit for the World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, I agree with that. Cause I think you gotta save the WWE Championship for guys like Cody, Randy, Drew, like. Cause I can't even put LA Knight in that conversation. I feel like him and LA Knight need to be in the same spot. Like LA Knight going after the World Heavyweight Championship. I feel like that's what Logan should be doing too. And I like LA Knight, but I think yeah, he better fit. And I think he a Raw wrestler anyways. I feel like Logan fits Raw more than SmackDown. Maybe that's just me, but I like, even though I don't like him like that, I'd rather see him on Raw. I think, yeah, he definitely better. When they do the draft, they should draft Logan Paul to Raw. I think that'll fit his character way more than him being on SmackDown. But I think, but they don't really, yeah, yeah. But to transition into athletes of the week, for TNA, I'm gonna go with Leon Slater. I enjoyed his match with Cedric from Emergence, even though I just seen it. But that feud was kind of cool. Cedric, I think Cedric just want to wrestle. I feel like apparently, if Tony Khan said something about his wife, then I understand why he ain't go to AEW. For AEW, I'm gonna go with Athena. I did hear that she lost today, which which I'm kind of disappointed. Which I predicted that she was gonna lose when she announced she was cashing in weeks before. But she had her feud with Tony was really good. It's probably the end of it now. I know her and Billy Starks will probably get into something. But Athena had these last 2 weeks. She was doing her thing. I seen the tag match they had. Her and her and Mercedes. That was a good match. You said, yeah, I know Athena finna get close to 1,000 days, but if Mercedes can hold 9 titles, then Athena can hold two. And Tony Storm has been a 4-time champion, so I like Tony Storm, but I think it's time for her to lose it now. Cause Tony Storm can beat Megan Bayne, Mercedes Moné, Mariah May before she left. She just beat Athena, so it's like, damn, who can beat her? Yeah, yeah, Billy Starks gonna do it. Then Athena be back on AEW. But I'm trying to see who can really beat Tony Storm, unless they run back Athena and Tony Storm. But they didn't run back Mercedes and Tony, at least not yet. So I don't know who gonna beat Tony Storm for it. It might be somebody random that we're not even thinking of. For WWE, I went with Io Sky for her performances the last 2 weeks of what I've seen. I've been busy, so I tried to catch the highlights. But when I'm able to catch Raw, somehow in I always see Io's matches. So that's just how, like Lilwood Kaiser, when he said that Io's the best woman on the roster, wasn't lying. She's the best women's wrestler in the world, just in ring wise. Like I love watching Io wrestle. Yeah, Tony Storm, she like the character is. I love the character, but it's above the belt at this point. They got to give it to somebody else. Made like I don't know who it can be now. With Athena losing, that's she didn't beat Athena, Mercedes, and Megan Bayne. So I don't know who it could be. Unless it's Alex. If it's Alex Windsor, I'd be pissed because Alex Windsor nice, but you telling me she gon' and she just lost to Athena. So Bianca's not a bad argument. Bianca up there too. Um, Bianca just not active right now. That's the like Bianca. She the strongest, in my opinion. She the strongest woman in WWE. I don't think it's anybody stronger than Bianca. And then for the WNBA for athletes of the week, I'm gonna go with Paige Beckers. She had a 44-point game on 17 to 21 from the field, so that's just very impressive. Those are my athletes of the week. You said Alex Windsor not taking it. Well, I don't know who finna take it. It might come down to Alex Windsor, which I hope it doesn't, because that'd be stupid. But yeah, I do think. Now, Bianca got an argument, though. I think. I'm trying to. In top three off the dome of best in ring women, I would say I'll go Io, Mercedes, then Bianca. I think you could put them in any order realistically, in my opinion. I think just in ring wise, I think those are the best three women when active. Bianca, Io, and Mercedes, whatever order, to be honest. Yeah, they shouldn't have broke the streak, but it it ended up being a good thing because she did have the only reason it's a good thing because she has a finger injury. It's not good that she's hurt, but that's the only reason why it makes sense, and you can't predict that. But I would have. Yeah, that's the only reason why it's fine now. If she wasn't injured, then I agree. But at least yeah, it's not as bad knowing that she ended up being injured after the match because she would have had to give up the title anyways. So, and I don't want to see her with another 1 day reign. So she already had one of those. So her injury actually worked out to her benefit in a surprising way, which obviously hoping she get well soon because the match. Well, I don't know if they're gonna pull the trigger on the big three triple threat at this point with Naomi being out. But her and Jay could be a cool match. I'd definitely be excited to see that. Yeah, Io should have pinned Rhea. If Naomi pinned Rhea, then I don't get why Io couldn't pin Rhea. That didn't make sense to me. But WWE didn't care about her streak because they didn't acknowledge it enough. Like she was what 4-0 going into WrestleMania, but they didn't really talk about it, so people didn't really care about it, and they focused too much on Rhea versus Bianca, which is how Io ended up winning. They told the same story for the triple threat match with Naomi. They focused it around Rhea and Io too much to where the point it made it easy for Naomi to win. They got to do better with some of the stories for the women's championships. But that's I think that's gonna wrap it up for this week's episode of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed. I'll be back next week for episode 61. I'm finna head to a soccer game in about an hour. Yeah, they definitely could have made it a thing. They should have, but WWE for you. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll have a video out Monday.